guys, it's Will. It's Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thank you for finding me. And if you feel like subscribing, that'd be a huge help. Thank you so much. And give us a comment, give us a thumbs up, all that fun stuff. What are we here to do today? Hey, it's a Blu-ray review, and it's not just one movie. It's a double feature. Hell yeah, what do I have for you? This is the MVD Bolo Yeung double feature Blu-ray release. This is the Rewind collection. So if you're unfamiliar with the Rewind, I love the Rewind collection. And Mike, who edits all these videos for me and is like my kind of silent partner in his channel, he and I have actually reviewed a bunch of their releases for other channels that we do. Like Nemesis 2, 3, and 4, which are all on one release as like a triple feature. The first Nemesis has a standalone release. We've done their release of Double Impact. We did Double Dragon. We did Showdown. We did My Samurai, like really a bunch of their stuff, and I really like this label, and I really like the movies they put out. I really like these slipcases they do with like the video store rental, kind of like nostalgia stuff on them, and this is a very bare bones release. These are two like straight to VHS, late 80s, early 90s, like martial arts action films, which both feature Bolo Yeung, obviously. But on some of their other stuff, like the Nemesis release, the Double Impact release, like they have loads of bonus features and lots of really good stuff on there. So they're worth checking out if you like those films. Check out the label. I'll put a link in the description below. So the two films on here are Blood Fight and Ironheart. If you just want a quick hit and you want to know like what's up with this and then you want to be on your way, if you like those low budget 80s and 90s like exploitation style, kind of like trashy martial arts action films that were like kind of trying to be like the Van Damme type stuff and kind of ride that wave, and they're just like fun and violent and like Canon Films type stuff, then I think you'll really dig this release. If that's not your cup of tea, you probably won't. If you're more like Jackie Chan, John Woo, like that kind of stuff, and you don't kind of go in for the more violent, the more dark, like the darker kind of more like low budget kind of stuff, you probably won't dig this. So the first film on here, which is the order, I'll kind of talk about them in the order in which I watch them, and let me just show you the release here. They both look really good. So like they're, I would assume what they did was they scanned whatever film sources they had, and then they threw those onto this release, and so they don't, I mean, I am not an expert in the art of the upscale, but they don't look like upscales to me, but, they look like decent, like, like they put a little bit of effort into, because I know that, for instance, with My Samurai, there's a whole, that you can read all this stuff about how they ended up putting that release together, because like there weren't that many surviving like elements for that film, and they had to like search all over the place to find all this stuff. Like they actually do good work with that kind of stuff. It's interesting to read about. If you go online, if you find their social media profiles and stuff, they'll write about it. So Blood Fight, it stars Yasuaki Kurata. Blood Fight might be a Japanese movie because it's directed by Shoji. I wrote his name down. Shuji Goto. So Shuji Goto obviously is a Japanese name, and it's produced by Japanese names, and it was written by a Japanese name, and it stars Yasuaki Kurata, who is Japanese, even though he's he's really well known for Hong Kong films, like he's in Heroes of the East and a bunch of other Shaw Brothers films, and he's in like Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Stars and stuff like that. So you definitely know who he is if you're familiar with Hong Kong cinema. And the whole thing is shot in Hong Kong. Simon Yam is in it, Bolo Yeung is in it. These are all Hong Kong actors, right? But I kind of think it was produced by a Japanese company, and therefore is kind of technically a Japanese movie. It has like a Japanese title and everything. This movie can best be described as blood sports exploitation. It's like a fight tournament movie set in Hong Kong with Bolo Yeung as the very muscular bad guy who kills people. So, and it came out in 1989, right, which is like right after Bloodsport. So look, 99% of this movie I really enjoyed. It has a very basic plot. Yasuaki Kurata is this martial arts instructor who owns a gym, and Simon Yam is this guy whose dad was a famous martial artist, and he's not sure he wants to do martial arts, but he ends up training with Yasuaki Kurata's character, and they enter into this tournament, and Bolo Yeung is the villain. And there's some twists and turns that I won't spoil for you. It's all shot in Hong Kong in the late 80s. The locations are incredible. The location of the gym is mind-blowing. It's like in a really tall building, like in kind of, it's hard to describe, but it's like you have to climb all these stairs to get up there, but it's like almost like an open air gym, so you can see all of this city around you. It's a really incredible location, and a lot of the locations in this are incredible. Simon Yam's performance especially, like he gives his all. He's fantastic in this film. Yasuaki Kurata, I think, is always a very reliable performer. Bolo Yeung does what Bolo Yeung does. The martial arts scenes are decent. And they're, it's like fun to watch. It's just kind of like that kind of era of like low budget kind of action filmmaking. There's a lot of stuff to like about this movie. However, they made one decision that I think was a very bad decision. And what that decision is that they have everyone speak in English. And it's very obvious that they don't really speak English, or if they do, they don't speak it that well. And they've memorized their lines phonetically. And so you have Simon Yam giving this incredible, powerful, emotional performance. He's got like these issues with his dad, and he's not sure, like, he's engaged, and his fiance doesn't want him to be doing martial arts. And like, there's a lot of emotional stuff happening here, and a lot of stuff about like mentors and fathers and sons and loss and stuff like that. And it kind of gets lost because it sounds like they don't know what they're saying. It's just very strange. And it makes the movie, like, I think that if they really committed to this film, been like, okay, screw it, it's a Hong Kong movie, even though we're trying to do Bloodsport. Like, we've cast Simon Yam, Yasuaki Kurata, all this stuff. Like, let's just do it in Cantonese. I think it would have been a way better film because it would be easier to immerse yourself in. Whereas with listening to the English from the characters the actors who don't seem to speak English, it just kind of throws you off. But like I said, overall, there's a lot to commend about this film. And if it really is a big asterisk of like, if you don't like these types of movies, you won't like this movie. But if you do, I think you'll find a lot to like in this. So the next one I think will be kind of traditionally described as like a better movie. For fans of Hong Kong cinema, Blood Fight I think is the better film because it's set in Hong Kong actors and stuff. Ironheart is an American film. It's directed by Robert Klaus, actually, who directed Enter the Dragon. So it has a lot of Hong Kong connections, and obviously Bolo Yeung being from Hong Kong. And the main villain is played by Richard Norton, who is in tons of, he was in Millionaire Express and Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Star and like all these Hong Kong films, right? And is still working in the industry today and is, admired by so many people. And the lead is played by Britton K. Lee. Now, I don't know a lot about this guy. He was only in 2 movies. He produced them both and he starred in them. And they were in... This movie came out in 1992. I think they were both like early 90s, late 80s, like 89, 92 maybe. And he obviously knows martial arts. He's not a great actor, but he's not awful. He's clearly trying to do like a kind of Seagal, Van Damme type of thing. Like, he reminds me a little bit more of Seagal because he has this thing where like he never gets injured. Seagal has that thing where like no one can hurt him. He just whoops the crap out of everyone, and like Van Damme gets like really beaten up and bloodied and stuff. This is more of like a Seagal type thing where you have this guy who just goes around destroying everyone. The plot is pretty simple. There's a human trafficking thing happening in Portland, Oregon, of all places. And a cop gets killed, and that cop's partner is the Britton K. Lee character, but they're former partners. So the Britton K. Lee character is down in L.A., and he comes up from LA to investigate the death of his partner. And it's very much like a kind of like a hard-hitting, grimy, like straight-to-video, early 90s style action movie. It is exactly what you would expect. There's music in this film that is absolutely incredible. Like, it kind of revolves around a nightclub, and the music is just amazing. Like, it is such amazing, like, early 90s music. And the club scenes are incredible with, like, the outfits and the dancing. And, like, it's just so much fun. And overall, that's just, like, Blood Fight, like I said, it has that one kind of Achilles heel, but it has a lot of interesting elements to it. Ironheart really is exactly what you think it's going to be. It's got like machine guns and bloody destruction and lots of fighting and like, these corny henchmen who are like, I'm going to get you, man. And then they get their asses whooped. And like, there's a woman that he falls for, and she's a dance instructor, so you get like some dance studio, like early 90s dance studio scenes. It's just a really fun movie, again, if you like those types of films. So I recommend this because I do like those types of films, which you'll know if you've seen like other videos that I've done with Mike, where we talk about 80s and 90s films that we like. Like, I do really have a soft spot for those like straight to video kind of low budget 80s and 90s action films. So it's the Bolo Yeung double feature from MVD Rewind Collection. And like I said, I really love the Rewind Collection. I really want to encourage you to financially support them. I think they put out a lot of, like, I love Nemesis. I'm like, I really love that movie. I almost said it's a top 10 sci-fi movie of all time for me. I don't know if I go that far, but maybe it is, honestly. Like, that movie to me is the missing link between John Woo and The Matrix. If you've seen it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I really love that movie. And the fact that they're putting these movies out on these high-quality editions, I think, is really great, and I think they deserve support. And they do sales a couple times a year where you can get these releases for, like, pretty discounted prices. So it's the MVD Rewind Collection. It's the Bolo Yeung double feature. It's Blood Fight and Ironheart. Blood Fight being very much kind of a Hong Kong film, even though technically it's not. And Ironheart just being like a really fun early 90s, like low budget kind of action film. So my name is Will. This is Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. I thank you so much for watching as always, and we will see you next time.